I'm Ian Crosby. I'm an attorney. I work in downtown Seattle.
I'm Aurora. I'm a judge, and I work actually down in Tacoma. Sarah was born prematurely. It was a surprise. I woke up one morning, my water broke a month and a half before she was due, and then we were off to the races. When you have a premature child, the doctors usually tell you that they're going to be somewhat delayed, but that as you get closer to 3 years old, your child will begin to sort of catch up with the rest of their peers. What we noticed is as she got closer to 3 years old, she didn't seem to be moving in the right direction.
We noticed that she wouldn't respond to her name, and we thought maybe she had hearing issues. So we went down and they did a hearing test, and she could hear just fine. It was just that social cue of her name that just didn't mean anything to her. She started having temper tantrums that weren't just like a kid's temper tantrums, but where she was just really out of control and wanting to crawl out of her own skin. And
she started hurting herself. She started beating her head into the corner furniture. It's really hard to see that.
Obviously, it was terribly traumatic for Sarah. It was really difficult for us. We had by this time we had our second child. It was just horribly difficult for all of us.
We were actually tested for autism at Seattle Children's Hospital before the Autism Center opened, but as she was diagnosed, we were able to transition there for her care.
She lacked impulse control. She lacked a sense of other people's boundaries. So it can be very difficult to be in public with her.
Hush!
I mean, she probably has between 8 and 12 hours of therapy after school over the course of a week, behavioral, speech, occupational, and physical therapy. There's this old Don Denver song, which goes inch by inch, row by row, we're gonna make our garden grow. And honestly, I mean, we just look and we're like inch by inch, row by row, we're gonna have our Sarah grow. I mean, it can be glacial.
I love you.
Is that you?
I love you, Dan.
The human connection is so valuable, and it's something we just want for Sarah.
Sarah doesn't have any friends. There are kids who are kind to her, but she doesn't have friends over for play dates. And if she did, she wouldn't know what to do with them. She doesn't know how to engage in a common subject of attention with somebody. She doesn't know how to be interested in what somebody else is interested in. Some people want their kids to grow up and be doctors or astronauts or get into Stanford or Harvard or whatever. And like, my dream for Sarah is that someday she will have a friend. I mean, somebody who just is interested in her and someone who she can find a way to be interested in, who spends time with her purely because they want to spend time with her.
So Friendship Circle is an amazing organization that takes children with any special needs and pairs them up with another child, usually is a teenager between 12 and 18. Volunteers, they come in and want to be their friend, and that's all they want to do. They want to have fun with them, they want to play, they just want to be their friend.
So Sunday Circle is a program where all of the kids who do Friendship Circle come together and they play for a few hours on a Sunday.
When we took Sarah to Friendship Circle the first time, or almost the whole first year, we would just go and sit outside in our car because she was so amped up and just so volatile.
She was there for 15 minutes before we got a call and said Sarah's just sobbing, rolling on the floor, sobbing.
At first, when Dad dropped her off, he will seem a little, worried. Like, I remember he will hand me an iPad, and he would hand me, like, a phone, and here's this and here's that, and we never use the iPad, we never use the phone, we never use any electronics, because that's not what she's here for. But now I see him when he drop her off, he doesn't give us the phone, he doesn't give us the iPad, he doesn't have the anxiety that they used to have dropping her off at the beginning.
They didn't give up on us, and we didn't give up on them. And now she goes to Sunday circles. She stays the whole 2 hours. She has lots of fun with her buddies.
Particularly Hannah and Kaylee, who just love her to pieces, and she loves them back. Seeing her now excited to go and just bouncing around, not from angst, but from happiness, really was what we needed. Was really what we needed.
It's so wonderful to get to spend time with Sarah, and I feel so lucky to really have gotten to know her over the past few years.
Sarah is just such a fun person to be around.
It's so exciting to get to build a really strong relationship with her, which I think is an opportunity that not a lot of teenagers or people in general really get. The Friends at Home program is essentially a play date where the teenage volunteers go over and they play with the kids with special needs.
Sarah and I sometimes like to draw, or we like to act out different plays.
I can't say how much I appreciate the sweetness that they show for Sarah, their affection for Sarah. It's so genuine. I appreciate it so much. It's the thing I want so much for her in the world, and I appreciate Hannah and Kaylee for having that in them, for genuinely liking Sarah for who she is.
And also, Sarah loves them right back.
A couple of weeks ago, we got to go to the library, and it was so much fun. I got to see her in a new light, and I got to see her pick out books that she liked, and I got to see her walk and talk about her life and her friends and her school, and it was so much fun.
The most beautiful thing I see about this program is the volunteers are not being forced to do it, they're not being told by their parents to do it.
I've been volunteering with Friendship Circle going on 4 years now, and as much as I feel I'm giving back to the community, I'm getting back just as much. And to give the parents a break, even if just for a few hours, to have the kids come and leave with a smile on their face, and wonderful to see that you really are making them happy, you're making them smile, you're making a real distinct impact on their lives.
She's made a huge progress from the beginning, and like I said, to the end. Now when I see her,
From that humble beginning to where she is now, other opportunities have opened up. She started going to a special needs sleepaway camp. This was the first time she'd ever slept away from us for a night.
This year when she turned 11, we had a birthday party for her here, and we invited all of the kids in her class to come, as well as other special needs children that we knew. I don't know whether I would have had the courage to do something like that if Sarah hadn't been successful in the Sunday circles.
Being a part of Friendship Circle really does reassure me that we're on track to make the world a better place. It satisfies a need that we don't see met in a lot of other places in their daily lives, and it gives them an outlet to just find their place in the world, and I think that's so important.
Inch by inch, row by row,